¿Qué tal, comunidad? Aquí habla su abogado Ray Ibarra Maldonado. Ojalá todo está bien con ustedes y con sus familias. Hoy estamos hablando de unas propuestas que tiene aquí en Arizona. Voy a empezar en inglés y después voy a ir a español. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We got a special request to do a video from Juan Rodriguez. Juan, thanks for asking, on some of the Senate bills, House bills that are coming through. So here it is. Enraged, angry, frustrated, upset. I'm trying to give you a legal analysis here, but it just gives you that flashback. And for those of us that were involved in the immigrants' rights struggle during the times of SB 1070 and before in Arizona, it really just takes you back to that era, right? And part of me thought, hey, we're over that. You know, that was the Arizona of the past. Now we see it in Florida. Now we see it in Texas. And it'll never come back here to Arizona. No, anti-immigrant, the hate is just being stoked up more and more, especially with Trump running again for the next presidency. Individuals wanting to take new seats that are opening up, or seats that are opening up, I should say, on the federal level. So the state legislature is really hammering away on the anti-immigrant topic once again to try to get that support to get them elected. Sad to see, horrible to see, and here we go again. All right, so we're going to take a look at some of the bills that are working their way through here. And shout out to AZ Central for doing a great job on getting the coverage going. The last time we had a lot of people saying, just ignore it, just forget about it, don't do anything about it, don't worry. And then we ended up just continuously getting attacked. So I'm starting to see more media coverage on it and more people speaking out about it. So let's keep that up. Number one that we're keeping an eye on here, SB 1231, the Arizona Invasion Act, right? So this one coming through the Senate and the House, if signed into law, it would protect local law enforcement who are involved in detention and arrest of immigrants. And we'll take a look at the bills in a moment, but basically this is the bill that's making it unlawful, a state law crime, to enter the country without permission and to be here without status, essentially. And then we have HR 2060, which I think has gotten more attention. They're both equally stupid and horrible, but that is the one dealing with E-Verify, okay? So those are, and there's more, right? But these are just the two that we're focusing on today. So we go over here to the HR 2060. Again, you can find these on the website of the state legislature, and you can find plenty of articles out there about them. But as always, I want to take you straight to the source, introduced by Representative Toma. My understanding he's running for federal office, hence wanting to get his name attached to anti-immigrant bills to try to get his chance of winning improved. Now, when you're looking at one of these documents, you have to remember that the black text is already the law. So that already exists. The blue is what they're trying to insert. So they're trying to put in here the language in the blue to go within the language in the black that already exists, right? And as it works through committees, as it works going back and forth, Senate and the House, this language can change, can get amended, right? We have the beginning part here talking specifically about the statute and indemnifying state and local governments here and from any problems that happen here. And this one specifically, talks about a city or a county not being able to use funds from the state for people unless they run those people through E-Verify. This is a classic of solving a problem that doesn't exist, right? There is nobody that they can point out to and say, hey, this person got benefits from a city or a county that we, the state, gave them, and they're undocumented. No, but it sounds good, right? So now they're saying cities and counties must use E-Verify before they give out money to people. Obstructing a legal duty. And this one I reread about 15 times last night because I couldn't understand what the heck it meant. A person commits obstructing of the legal duty to use E-Verify by committing any completed or preparatory offense for the benefit of, at the direction of, or in association with any person who has the intent to obstruct, impair, or hinder any person from using the E-Verify program as required by law. It's a mouthful to get through. And if in the world anybody's actually ever charged with this, I'm immediately filing a motion to dismiss as the statute is void for vagueness, because how on earth am I to know how to avoid getting caught up in this when there's no actual language that describes what I do wrong to violate this statute? It is just so broadly worded that it can be interpreted 55 million different ways, and it doesn't give any law that's written, criminal law, has to give instructions to us, the public, about what exactly it means, what we have to not do in order, or what we, how we have to act in a way to not be criminalized. And this law is just so vague and so poorly worded that I don't think it would survive, even if it got past the other arguments that we'll get to in just a moment. So that's that, and then it gets down here, and again, black part's already part of the statute, and here they're taking out some language. So red strike through means they want to take it out, and they want to say now, here's the kicker: every employer, after hiring an employee, now they're including independent contractor or subcontractor, shall verify the employment eligibility of the employee. So this is new, and this does not match the federal E-Verify as well. Federal does not include independent contractor or subcontractor. So they're attempting to add this to the state mandatory E-Verify program, including subcontractors or contractors, right? This is the statute that is getting a lot of attention, that's leading the charge, and also not letting anybody get a license who's undocumented. So it's putting the burden on state, local governments, counties, to licensing boards to play immigration agent, and every employer in the country, in the state, whether it's an employee or a contractor, to go ahead and mandatory use E-Verify. Right? Questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and drop them on down. I'm moving over here to the other bill, SB 1231. Again, these can get changed, these can get moved around. You see there are lots of backers that it has from Republicans: state crime, illegal border crossings. So again, not as poorly as written, for whatever that means. I shouldn't say anything positive, whatever, about these bills. But the reason why I think it's a little bit less poorly written is because there are federal statutes you can kind of just cut and paste from for these guys, so it makes it pretty easy. Begins with saying, hey, we know we're going to get our asses sued on this one, so let's put in there limitations on how badly we have to pay people when we get sued for doing this stuff. That's the first part there, probably to get that protection for the local sheriffs that wanted this in there, would be my guess. And then I'll get you down here to the parts of the bill not eligible for community supervision for these new sections here. And here come the new sections. So new statute, illegal entry from a nation, affirmative defense. It is unlawful for a person who is unauthorized to enter or attempt to enter this state directly from a foreign nation at any location other than a lawful port of entry. And come to think of it, I think this might even differ from 8 U.S.C. 1325, which is our federal equivalent, because that I don't believe 1325 has a requirement of being a non-citizen. I might be wrong, but I think it applies to everybody. Let me look that up real quick. So if we go here and we go to 8 U.S.C. 1325, that's the federal illegal entry statute. We click on this guy here, and it will tell us in just a second. Any person, again, who enters or attempts to enter the United States at a place other than designated by an immigration officer, eludes inspection, or attempts to enter willful, lawful misrepresentation, Yeah, so it does. I was incorrect. So that, like I said, they cut and pasted from the beginning. I was right the first time. I should have stuck with that. So unlawful for a person to enter at a place other than a port of entry. And you see where I'm going here. There's a federal statute that already does this. There is already a federal law that deals with this exactly on point. Anytime you want to learn more about that, go to the federal courthouse in Tucson, federal courthouse in Phoenix, any day of the week, and walk into pretty much any courtroom, and you'll see people charged with 8 U.S.C. 1325 or 8 U.S.C. 1326, illegal reentry after being removed. And that's what this statute does, right? It's trying to say, hey, let's let our state officers do what the federal officers are already allowed to do. How is that problematic? Well, you remember that law, SB 1070. You remember that it made it to the U.S. Supreme Court. But do you remember what they said? Most of SB 1070 was knocked down and found unconstitutional because of this concept known as field preemption, right? Field preemption means the federal government has already spoken extremely large on this issue, so states can't do it because we don't want states to be doing one thing in Arizona, where a mile over in New Mexico they do something different, and then Texas does something different. So the federal government's already spoken. They've already taken over these areas of employment, i.e. their E-Verified doesn't have to do anything with subcontractors and contractors, i.e. their federal criminal statutes are already in existence, and giving that power to the state when the federal government has already exclusively taken control and set point guidelines, these people know that it's going to be shut down, right? Now, that's not enough for me as an attorney to say, oh, don't worry about it, folks. It'll be a lawsuit, cost the state millions, and we'll win at the end of the day. The harm comes from the introduction of the bills, from the constant talking about it in the media, from otherifying the person with brown skin as being bad with the language that they're using in here. That's the harm. The law going into effect, well, I'm pretty confident the bad stuff won't. It'll be shot down by the courts. There's a whole lot of horrible conversations, interactions, aggressiveness that will occur in schoolyards, at stores, at sporting events, wherever you go in public, because the anti-immigrant sentiment will continue to get ramped up by having these bills. Even though they know, right, they've read this. This is not a secret webpage. This is SCOTUS blog reviewing how SB 1070 was shot down. They know it's going to happen. They don't care. They just want to be identified as being anti-immigrant so that they can get more votes and move on their own political careers. Disgusting, ridiculous, outrageous. So that is, in a nutshell, folks, two of the bills that are working their way through the House and the Senate. And we should not wait. We should not wait for the attorneys to come and figure out a way to stop this. We should not wait for anybody to do anything. Now is the time for everybody to be outraged and demand that this stop and be done with. All right? 1,000%. Let's not make that same mistake we made years ago and others continue to make of saying, hey, don't worry about it. It's going to go down in the court. No, it's going to go down now by us. We're sick and tired of it. We're done with it. Let's go ahead and move on to positive things for our community and for our life. Questions, comments, concerns, drop them on down. As always, excited to hear from you. What you thinking? What are your reactions to these bills? What should be done? One good person to follow, I did want to give a shout out to Ana Hernandez, Senator Hernandez. Follow her, Ana Hernandez, 424, not the number 4, FOR. She had a great video. I was almost considering just playing that video, talking about her outrage with these bills. So go look for that, please. Ana Hernandez, 4 FOR 24. Right? I'm going to switch over to Espanol. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns in any language you want, go for it, throw it on down now, or later if you're not watching on the live. So, comunidad pidió un video sobre las nuevas propuestas que tenemos aquí en Arizona. Hay dos que estoy enfocando ahorita. Esos dos tienen que ver con trabajadores y también personas que no trabajan en la compañía, pero a vez en cuando hagan un trabajo para la compañía. Se llama subcontractors. Un cambio grande que quiere hacer es que cada persona en Arizona que da trabajo, cada trabajador o contratista, ellos tienen que hacer el E-Verify para ver si tienen documentos a trabajar aquí en el país o no. Yo sí pienso al fin de día que eso no es en acuerdo con la Constitución de Estados Unidos, porque el gobierno federal ya tiene una ley de E-Verify y no dice nada sobre contratistas. Ellos no tienen que hacerlo. Entonces yo creo que al fin del día los cortes van a decir no puede hacerlo porque el gobierno federal ya tiene una ley y entonces se llama Federal Preemption o Field Preemption y no puede seguir con eso. También hay leyes muy duros, muy malos, que dice que una persona que entra al país sin permiso o está aquí en el país sin permiso lo puede ser arrestado, castigado con tiempo en prisión. Otra vez, yo pienso que igual no va a pasar al fin de día en los libros de las leyes de Arizona. Sí tiene chance de pasar, pero cuando va a corte es tan obvio que es en contra de la Constitución que no va a seguir. Pero el daño de esas propuestas no es en que al fin de día si van a ser ley o no. Es en las conversaciones, las pláticas que tienen nada más en el Congreso o el Senado, pero en las casas, en las calles, en las escuelas, diciendo que inmigrantes son malos, que nosotros debemos hacer algo de poner en prisión personas que nada más están viniendo al país buscando mejor vida, que están huyendo de violencia, de tragedias en su país de origen, que el Estado debe poner recursos a arrestar personas y ponerlos en prisión y después deportarlos. Es increíble que el Estado de Arizona está haciendo eso y está pensando en hacer eso. Realmente la única razón por qué quiere hacerlo es porque las personas que están apoyando esas leyes quieren más poder. En vez de ser representados en el Estado, quieren ser representados federales. Sabiendo que Trump va a entrar, ellos quieren ir con el nombre de él en contra de los inmigrantes y buscar mejor trabajo por ellos. Es algo tan triste que usa nuestra comunidad en esta manera, pero por esa razón es tan importante que peleamos en contra de esas propuestas para estar seguro que al fin del día no pasan. ¿Okay? Muy importante, estamos muy en contra de esas leyes. No queremos regresar a los tiempos de SB 1070, no queremos separar demandas, tiene que parar esas leyes ahorita. ¿Okay? Muchas gracias, comunidad. Como siempre, cualquier pregunta, aquí estamos para servirle. 602-910-4040. Gracias.